Well, hello there. Ever heard of Nauru? It's a tiny island, a mere dot in the vast Pacific Ocean. Quite fascinating, really. You might need a good map to find it. But small places often have the biggest stories. Nauru is certainly no exception to that rule. It's a unique little world all its own. A place of surprising history, you see. Let's take a little journey there, shall we? It's a story worth telling, I think. The very first Nauruans. Where did they come from? It's a bit of a mystery, lost in the mists of time. Ancient seafarers, brave souls, no doubt. They navigated by stars and currents, imagine that. Perhaps from Polynesia or Micronesia or both. Eventually, 12 distinct tribes called Nauru home, each with its own chief and traditions. A tapestry of cultures on one small isle, living in harmony with the sea and land, a remarkable feat of human endurance. Life in old Nauru was, well, rather idyllic in its own way. They were skilled fishermen naturally. The ocean was their larder, full of bounty. Coconuts and pandanus fruits grew abundantly. These provided food, drink, and materials for living. They built sturdy homes and clever canoes, a self-sufficient existence quite admirable. They had rich oral traditions, songs, and intricate dances, passing stories and wisdom down through generations, a vibrant culture, long before outsiders arrived. The island society was well organized, structured around clans. Loyalty to one's family and tribe was paramount. Matrilineal descent was the way, meaning lineage passed through the mother. This shaped their community and how they lived together. For many centuries, Nauru was a world unto itself, peaceful for the most part from what we gather, before the winds of change began to blow, before the outside world discovered this tiny speck, a quiet corner of the Pacific, minding its own business. Quite a different picture from what was to come. Then one day, a new sail appeared on the horizon. It was 1798, a British whaling ship named Hunter. Its captain was John Fairn, an adventurous fellow. He was the first European to clap eyes on Nauru. He rather liked the look of it, green and welcoming. So he named it Pleasant Island. A charming name, though perhaps a touch ironic later on. Little did he know what history had in store for it. The first glimpse of a much larger, bustling world. And the islanders, what did they make of these newcomers? After Captain Fairn, other ships began to call. Whalers seeking water and supplies, you understand. Traders arrived too, looking for new opportunities. And then came the beachcombers, a motley crew. Some were deserters, others just seeking adventure. They brought with them new goods, tools, and ideas. But also, alas, new diseases and firearms. Life on Pleasant Island started to change, bit by bit. The old ways began to mix with the new, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, as is often the case. For a while, things were a bit higgledy-piggledy. Then, in 1888, Germany decided to step in. They raised their flag and declared Nauru a protectorate. It became part of their colony of German New Guinea. The Germans brought their own brand of order, and of course they had an eye for business. They started to notice the island's rather unusual soil, a hint of what was to become Nauru's great fortune, and also its great challenge. Colonial rule had well and truly begun, but empires shift and tides turn, don't they? World War I erupted far away in Europe. Germany lost the war, and with it, its colonies. Nauru's administration was then passed to Australia, along with Britain and New Zealand, under a League of Nations mandate. This was in 1919, another chapter opening. Australian influence grew stronger on the island. The focus remained on that peculiar, rich earth. The destiny of Nauru was becoming clearer, and it was all about what lay beneath their feet. What was this special earth, you ask? Phosphate. Millions of years of bird droppings, guano they call it, baked by the sun transformed into rock. Incredibly rich in phosphate, perfect for fertilizer. Albert Ellis, a bright chap, made the big discovery in 1900. He realized Nauru wasn't just pleasant, it was valuable. A veritable treasure trove, hidden in plain sight. Or so it seemed at the time, a gift from nature. This discovery would change Nauru forever, more profoundly than anyone could have imagined. So the mining began in earnest around 1906. Large companies moved in, machinery arrived. They started digging up the island's interior, scooping out the precious phosphate rock. The landscape began to transform dramatically, from lush green to stark, jagged limestone pinnacles. The heart of the island was being systematically removed, shipped across the oceans to fertilize farms far away. Nauru was feeding the world in a way, but at a tremendous cost to its own land. The Nauruan people received royalties from the mining. Suddenly they became quite wealthy. Some of them very wealthy indeed. money poured in, unheard of riches for a small Pacific community. They could afford things they'd only dreamed of: new houses, cars, travel abroad. But this prosperity came with a heavy price. Their ancestral lands were disappearing before their eyes, a difficult trade-off wealth for their environment. The island that had sustained them was being consumed, a paradox at the heart of their new lives. Amidst all this change, a new desire grew strong. The Nauruan people wanted to control their own destiny. They wanted to govern themselves, make their own decisions. The call for independence grew louder and more insistent, led by determined chiefs like Hammer de Robur. They negotiated with Australia and the United Nations. And finally, the day arrived. January 31st, 1968. Nauru became an independent republic. The smallest in the world, a remarkable achievement. Freedom at last to chart their own course. After independence, Nauru was, for a time, incredibly rich. The phosphate money continued to flow, a golden stream. Per capita, they were amongst the wealthiest people on Earth. They had big dreams for their new nation. Investments were made overseas, some wise, some not so. There was a Nauru airline, Nauru House in Melbourne. It seemed the good times would last forever. A tiny nation with a very large bank account. But resources, even vast ones, are finite. A lesson learned the hard way. Then, the inevitable happened. The phosphate began to run out. The best quality deposits were exhausted by the late 20th century. The mining slowed, and then it largely stopped. The income dried up, and economic challenges mounted. It was a tough transition, a real shock to the system. What does a nation do when its main resource is gone? Especially when that resource has also reshaped its land. Nauru had to find new ways to sustain itself, a period of searching, of trial and error, relying on their resilience and ingenuity. Modern Nauru is a nation grappling with this legacy. There are efforts to rehabilitate the mined-out lands, to diversify the economy beyond phosphate. Fishing licenses provide some income, and Australia has become a key partner, providing significant aid and hosting an asylum seeker processing center. This relationship is complex but very important. Nauruans are looking for sustainable paths forward, navigating the tricky waters of the 21st century, a small island facing big global realities. Nauru holds a unique place in the Pacific and the world. Its story is a powerful one, of riches found and lost, of environmental impact and the quest for self-determination. The Nauruan people are remarkably resilient, I must say. They have faced immense changes with courage. Their ties with Australia and other Pacific neighbors remain vital. History has shaped modern Nauru profoundly in every way, from its culture to its economy and its very landscape. It's still Pleasant Island in spirit, striving to build a secure future, a journey through time that offers many lessons for us all.